What's going on, Detroit Lions fans? Welcome back in. Detroit Den 313 with Steve. Hey, I got to talk about Taylor Decker's big contract, man. I'm absolutely ecstatic. I love it. It happened this morning. I put out an episode this morning about Maurice Alexander. I'm heading to the golf course, listening to 97 Won the Ticket. They're interviewing Brad Holmes, and he said it, and I just went, wait, what? We re-signed Taylor Decker? Is that something I don't know? And I feel like the guys on the morning show, Jansen and I'm not gonna say the other guy's name. I feel like they were taken by surprise too, because it kind of came out of nowhere. There's no rumblings, kind of kept that one really close to the vest, I guess Brad Holmes was doing. But I thought it was fantastic news. I was just pulling into the golf course. I put out a tweet trying to be the first one to break the news, but obviously I wasn't. So I think it's fantastic news. I'm not going to focus on the Decker contract today because I feel like you guys are already pretty familiar with that. But I am going to say I'm happy for Decker, even though he's a Buckeye, man. He's helping out our Lions here, helping us win a Super Bowl, and I let that rivalry go. After you get out of college, you come to the Lions, you're a Detroit Lion. I don't care where you went to college. I know a lot of people kind of think that I don't love Decker, man, but he's one of my favorite players. I think he's one of the most underrated left tackles in all of football. Kind of just flies really under the radar. And what I'm most excited about is that it's looking like he's going to spend his whole career as a Detroit Lion, and I think that is absolutely awesome. I don't think that happens enough in football. Even with quarterbacks, you just look at guys like Tom Brady, like you expected him to be a Patriot for life, man. It's very, very rare that one player spends his whole career with one team. And I really hope that that's the case for Taylor Decker. I'd love to see his name in the Ring of Honor whenever that time comes. I think he's that caliber of player. He's going down as one of the top 5 greatest offensive linemen for Detroit Lions as well. So really, really excited to have Decker back. Have him locked up for the future, man, keeping this offensive line intact. Decker, Sewell, Frank Ragnow, we got some questions about his future, but we're just going to enjoy it while we got it, man. That's what I'm going to do anyways. I'm just going to look at this offensive line. Hey, if Brad Holmes wants to hand out Steve P a contract, I'll take it because he seems like he's just signing everybody, man. And I love all the signings. So if he wants to lock down Steve from the Detroit Den 313, hey, man, we can get our people in the room together. We could figure something out, Brad. But seriously, guys, I'm seriously ecstatic about this news. I kind of did not see it coming. I didn't really know what was happening. I haven't heard any rumors or rumblings. And then, boom, driving to golf. Hey, Taylor Decker's a Lion for at least 3 more years. I thought it was fantastic news. But let's get into some training camp stuff today, shall we? I wish I could be at these practices, man. So I'm really taking most of my information has to come from reliable people that I see and trust on Twitter. That's people like Tim Twentyman, people who cover the Lions, like hardcore stuff. I take what they say and I kind of try to find like a common ground that I can kind of put a spin on things and put my 2 cents in it. But it sounded and looked like that Detroit Lions defense won the day. And a lot of people are concerned about the offense. Not me. I've seen some stuff. Now, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but I have seen some stuff where people are worried about certain things, and I'm not going to get into that or dive into it. But the defense just had a day. Listen, I want this defense to dominate. Iron sharpens iron. The Detroit Lions defense has added 5, maybe 6 starters to its defense. It's unheard of that a team that goes to the NFC Championship game revamps that kind of massive overhaul like we just did this offseason with the draft, free agency. I'm not going to get into it because I've been saying it quite a bit, but we've possibly added 5 or 6 starters to this defense. Iron is sharpening iron. We're going against a top-level, high-octane offense. This defense is just – it has to get better. It has to get better just based off of who you added. Guys just maturing and getting used to the NFL speed like Aiden Hutchinson. I saw some stuff from some rookies I'm going to talk about today that I'm absolutely thrilled about, guys, if you can't tell already. But the defense won the day, and there's nothing wrong with that. We want the defense to win the day. We want the defense to win these battles because that shows you growth. It shows you that this Detroit Lions defense is no longer going to be a question mark. It's no longer going to be a liability. We're going to show up on Sundays, Mondays, Thursday nights, Wednesday mornings, whenever we play Detroit Lions football, that defense is going to show up. I put out an episode the other day. Could this Detroit Lions defense be number 1 in the NFL? And I said that was a lofty goal, and that was kind of coming from Jack Campbell. And I said, Jack, I hope you're right. I love your confidence, young fella, but I'm happy with top 10. I'm not trying to settle. If we can get that number 1 spot, that number 1 defense, lights out, thoughts and prayers, see you in New Orleans. where we're going to be meeting up at Cafe Du Monde having some beignets on Super Bowl morning. So if that defense is number one, that's the path we're headed down. Even if it's top 10, even if it's a top 10 defense, let's say it's number 8. I like number 8. If it's a number 8 overall defense, we're still heading to New Orleans, guys. It's going to happen. If this defense is overhauled and improved as much as I think it is, as much as a lot of other content creators think it is, as much as a lot of people who cover the Detroit Lions think it is, we are going to be a very, very well-rounded and complementary type football that is going to be very, very hard to beat. Good luck. Good luck, because Dan and Brad have built this thing. Chris Spielman's had a huge hand in it. I love the direction of this team. We're finally in a position where we can go out and be favorites in 16 out of 17 NFL football games this season. That is absolutely insane. That's the kind of team we have. But defense won the day with pads on first day. I love to see it. No concerns from me from the offense. It's still early. A lot of things can happen. And this defense is dominating. We don't even have Brian Branch on the field yet. Let me just throw that out there. Brian Branch is still kind of recovering from his surgery that he had this offseason. And Dan Campbell has touched on that, said that he's in a good place timeline-wise. Just think about how much better this defense is going to be in training camp when we get Brian Branch fully healthy and ready to go. I'm not in a hurry. I don't need to see Brian Branch until September 8th. I don't need to see him until the Rams are here. So defense is winning. I think we're still without one of our best defensive players. It's only going to get scarier. So who really stood out today? Some names that I've seen from multiple sources: Terrion Arnold, Carlton Davis, and Aiden Hutchinson. Those are, and there's another rookie I'm going to mention here in a minute, guys. I'm keeping that one close to the vest. I gotta keep you sticking around. But I'm going to have a bomb I'm going to drop on you guys here in a second with some great news. Terrion Arnold, Carlton Davis, Aiden Hutchinson really standing out today, according to Tim Twentyman and some other people I've seen. So that's where this is coming from. I got to give my shout outs, got to give my credit. They usually know what they're talking about. Pretty good, reliable sources there. I feel like those are the big three we have on defense. And if you really want to roll into it, we could get into the Alex Anzalonis and the Brian Branch, who is still missing. But those three guys, Terrion Arnold, Carlton Davis, Aiden Hutchinson, are going to carry this defense. They're going to carry the heavy load. There's going to be some guys who are really going to be solid contributors. I'm not trying to downplay anyone's role here, but when you look at the passing defense that we had last year, these two corners, Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold, playing this well, this early, very good. I want to see that steady gradual climb and progression and just get better and better. And even if it doesn't, even if it just stays or it marginally increases, Aiden Hutchinson getting better, that's going to cover up a lot of your passing defense woes. Like if you have an elite pass rush, an elite pass rusher like Aiden Hutchinson doesn't matter who you have back there in the secondary. Does not matter. So we're playing good complementary football on defense, and I get it. It's still early. It's literally day one of pads, but this is football season. Like this is the kind of stuff you want to be hearing about. I would much rather be hearing about this instead of hearing that they're struggling. So try to shine a positive light on something here. I know a lot of people are like, it's still early. It's only week one of training camp. Really, it's first practice and pants. Heard it all. But I'm excited. I want to see these guys keep growing, keep getting better, and just keep getting better and better and just absolutely dominate this season. So Aiden Hutchinson also had a strip sack today. As much as the offense has been struggling, according to some people, that's perfectly fine with me, because also I'm pretty sure I read today that the Detroit Lions have not turned the ball over until today. No interceptions by Goff or Hooker or Sudfeld in the first 4 or 5 practices, whatever practice number we're at now. Aiden Hutchinson had a strip sack today. So we're 5 practices in, I think, and we're just now getting a turnover on the offense. So the offense is at least taking care of the ball. So I don't know. I see some people just complaining on Twitter about production, and I don't know, because I'm not there. I'm not at practices. I just see some stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't really think it's any cause for concern. It's, it's practice. We're not going to see any extravagant plays. Here's what excites me the absolute most, and this is directly from Tim Twentyman. He wrote an article. I sat down, read it. He was kind of breaking down some of the stuffs and drills, and said that he heads over to the offensive line versus defensive line pad matchups where they do drills one-on-one, or I'm not sure if it's one-on-one or if it's kind of like a group thing. I don't know. But what stood out to me and what blew my mind and got me super excited was Mekhi Wingo winning his reps against Kevin Zeitler. This isn't to be concerned about Kevin Zeitler. It's to be overexcited about Mekhi Wingo, because that's been my guy since the draft. That's been one of my favorite draft picks. I'll say it. That's my favorite draft pick. My favorite player that I'm cheering for is Mitchell Agude, who I haven't heard a whole lot about yet, but I'm gonna start digging into why that is here in a little bit. But Mekhi Wingo winning his reps against Kevin Zeitler, a Pro Bowl guard who I think is going to be fine. I am not concerned at all. I think this more shows that Mekhi Wingo is just a monster and is going to be a hell of a football player going forward. I really think that his first step, which Tim Twentyman mentioned, is absolutely elite. He's got crazy athleticism. I know I got absolutely hammered when I even mentioned Mekhi Wingo and Aaron Donald in the same breath, but I'm telling you, there's just some similarities. I've never said that Mekhi Wingo is going to be Aaron Donald, but I've said that physically there's a lot of similarities. If he can really become an elite pass rusher in this league, or even just a really, really good pass rusher, either from the defensive end or the defensive tackle position, this defense is going to be in quarterbacks' nightmares. I absolutely can't wait, guys. Just a little training camp breakdown from today. Wanted to talk about Taylor Decker, some stuff that I've been seeing on Twitter. Again, I can't get to any practices, unfortunately, this year, but if something changes, I will mention that this is coming from me and not from other sources. But I want to give a shout out because these guys are putting in a lot of work, man. A lot of these beat writers, guys who cover the Detroit Lions, you guys are doing phenomenal work. We appreciate all of the information that guys like me have to use because we can't make it. So thank you very much. Stick around, hit that like button, guys. I will be back later with another show.